Good morning, Homespun friends. It is so great to see you today. I have not been with you in a little while. I had a lot of things going on over the last few weeks that have kept me from being able to film. It seems like every time I get on a roll, something stops me from being able to come and get things done. But as you know, I'm going to continue to try to come to you every chance that I get. I've had a very challenging fall. Back in the first part of September, I started having a lot of problems with my allergies in our area. This wonderful period of like regular rain that we had been getting, it kind of stopped. And so things got really hot. Matter of fact, it was hotter in the fall than it had been in the summer. And the dry, hot weather, I guess, really got my allergies riled up. And so I had been having a few problems with them. And right around the, I don't know, maybe the 20-something of September, came my 6-month checkup where I go to my doctor for my 6-month visit. And when my doctor did my blood work then, it showed some irregularities. It showed that my lymphocytes were up. It showed that my white count was up. And she thought maybe I was fighting off an illness or something, or maybe that my rheumatoid arthritis was starting to flare up. And I have been in remission for quite a few years. And so that was a possibility. I had been having some pain, and that was a possibility. And it was a little bit unnerving for me to think about dealing with arthritis in an active way again. But she told me to wait a few weeks and then for me to come back and have more blood work done. And in the next week or so, my husband and I traveled out of town. We had a couple of obligations to do. And when we got home from that, I was sick. I had developed an upper respiratory infection. And so I called and she sent me in some antibiotics. And I was on antibiotics for about a week and I could not get better. And matter of fact, I had just started singing back for the fall session of Choral Society, and I was hardly able to sing. My voice was just in terrible shape because I couldn't breathe. I was struggling. And even after the antibiotics, it just didn't really do anything. So after maybe a few days after I had finished the antibiotics and I was still feeling bad, I went back to my doctor's office and saw a nurse practitioner that was on duty that day. And she told me that I had severe inflammation in my chest wall, that all of my bronchial tubes seemed to be very inflamed. And my body loves inflammation because I do have an autoimmune disease. And when any part of my body becomes inflamed, then every part becomes inflamed, it seems like. And so she put me on albuterol breathing treatments and prednisone, the steroids, to try to help boost me up a little bit to fight this off. And she put me on a couple other medications that I took for about 7 days. And after that, I waited maybe another almost a week, nothing. I felt slightly better, but nothing significant. And so I made another appointment and went back to my doctor again. And she told me she felt like either I had a drug-resistant infection or maybe it was my immune system was just so sort of dysfunctional that it was not able to really combat what was going on. So she put me on some type of antibiotic that was very potent, that was designed for drug-resistant bacteria. And she gave me a couple other things to take. And this time I did start feeling slightly better. And then I went in for blood work to see if my blood work had improved at all. And it had. And so that was good. And so even though I still am having a little bit of hoarseness and a little bit of drainage, which is probably related to allergies, I'm better overall. But that went on from the first part of September until just a couple of weeks ago. So I have had a really difficult fall just dealing with that because I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And then earlier this month, my grandson, Braxton, who's 2, we have 10 grandchildren, and one of our grandsons is 2, Braxton. And one morning, he got up and he would not wake up. I mean, he just would not wake up. And my daughter was very concerned, and so she rushed him to the ER, and there they did some things to try to kind of bring him around. It showed the blood work that his sugar was like a 40. I think his body temperature was a 93. He was definitely having something. At first, they thought it might be Addison's disease, which is very rare. It would be very rare for a small child to have that. And it'd be like one of the first times that this hospital had ever seen that. And then there were some other possibilities as well, but that was the main one that they were leaning towards. But when a couple of days later, when he was discharged over the weekend, then Monday morning he went in and he was able to see a specialist in the city. And they said they didn't believe that it was Addison's, even though initially they thought it was. Now they're thinking it's something called infantile hypoglycemia. Have any of you ever heard of that before? I'd be curious to know. And they just think his blood sugar just bottomed out. He had been having a real difficult time with eczema, and he had an infection, a double ear infection and all. So they just felt like maybe that even in the night, possibly he had a little febrile seizure, because he got up in the night and staggered into his mom's room and got up in bed with her, which is very unusual. And then he didn't wake up that well in the morning. So they think it was all of this together was just like the perfect storm. And they think that it's something that he will outgrow, but he's still going to undergo in the next few weeks a couple more tests just to rule everything out. And I like it when they're thorough. So while all of this was going on with my daughter, she was, in the hospital with her son. She has 3 other children. She has a 9-month-old and a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. Now, the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old are in school, and then the 9-month-old stayed with me. And so it was just everyone was trying to chip in and help out while Braxton was in the hospital. And one day I had gone to pick up my son Brady from school, and when I got him out of school, he said, "Mimi, I'm hungry. Can I get some chicken nuggets from Burger King?" And I said, "Sure you can." So I got in that drive-through lane. I was the very next person to come up to the speaker to order, and I got rear-ended hard, and it shoved my car into the car ahead of me in the drive-through, and scared us both to death. Scared me, scared my grandson Brody. And but we were fine. We were okay. I have had some back pain since then. It's been about a week and a half since that happened. And my car has a little bit of damage to it that I'm going to have looked into. But thankfully, everyone was okay. And the lady that hit us was elderly, and she had undergone a medical procedure that day, and she was very upset. And so it was hard to be, irritated with her, bless her heart, because accidents do happen. Accidents happen in life, and we just have to kind of roll with it and make the most of it. And so we're just thankful that no one was hurt, and, things can be replaced, but people can't. And so that was my lesson for that day, that I need to be grateful, even when bad things happen, because they could always be worse, right? And so we have just had a really busy fall time, and it's kept me from being able to do some of the things that I wanted to do. But I'm just following God's timetable, and today He has provided me with a little bit of time to sit down and talk with you on a Monday chat like we used to do, and I have missed it. Now, Thanksgiving Day, my husband and I filled our home with our family. My parents came, my brother, and all of our good little grandchildren were here, and we had people everywhere eating, but it was so much fun. Everyone brought something to chip in and serve, and everyone ate, and the weather was nice, so we could go outside too, and we got some pictures made, and we just had a wonderful time being together. And then as our tradition, me with my daughters, they taught me into it each year, going out for a little bit of Black Friday shopping. Now, we don't do heavy-duty shopping, waiting in huge lines. We don't live in a big city. Yes, Walmart's parking lot is going to be full, and the aisles are going to be a little bit congested, but no one was ugly. No one was mean. And one of the main reasons I really love to go and do this shopping with my daughters is, one, it gives us a fun time to be together, a fun tradition that we can do each year that they'll always remember. And those things are like treasures in our hands as the years go by. I can remember my own grandmother, Lloyd. Whenever she would get her little bonus check, she would call me and she would say, "Get your coupons ready and come down. I'm going to take you and get your groceries for the next couple of weeks. And we're going to get a lot of extra things you don't normally get because I have a little extra money." And I can remember, my children was very young then, but I can remember how exciting that was for me. And I still have a couple of items that my grandmother bought me that are not even food related. She bought me a vest one time for Valentine's Day on one of these trips. and it has hearts on it. And I try to wear that during the Valentine's season. It's kind of outdated now because it's been a number of years ago. My grandmother's been deceased for a number of years, but you know what? I remember those special times that she spent with me. And so I want to make some of those times with my children and grandchildren too. So we went Black Friday shopping, and while we were there, I was able to get PJs for all the grandkids, because that's one of the things we always get them Christmas time. And when they're with me, they can actually help me to pick out the right sizes, because they have 8 of our 10 grandchildren. Just those 2 daughters have 8 of the 10. So it really helps me when they're with me. And then I was able to also get, we usually get them, you know, a toy. And so they were able to help me with a good bit of that too. I didn't get it all done, but I got a good bit done. And then I have to admit, there was something that I wanted for myself. I wanted to have a new set of pots and pans. And I have good ones now that are pretty good, but I wanted to pass those on to one of my daughters who needs some extra pots and pans. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to get me these pots and pans that are on sale. And what I wanted to get was made by Pioneer Woman. Now, I want to know how many of you watch the Pioneer Woman. Do you watch her when she's on TV about her cooking, and you see her beautiful pots and her dishes and all of the things that she uses in her kitchen? I love her items. And so my husband said, they're on sale for $69 and you need to get them. That's a really good deal. So I debated on doing it, but I finally did, and I'm so thankful that I did, because I absolutely love them. And I wanted to show you a little bit more about what I got. Now, in the set that I got, I think it was, I can't remember if it was 20 pieces that I got in this set, but you could choose the teal or you could choose the red. And a lot of things in my kitchen are red. I love red. It's just one of my favorite colors. And so I got the red pots, and I'll show you. I got one pot pulled out for you to see. Let me see if I can pull this up and you can take a look at it. Now, some other things came with it. You can hear that clinking in the bottom of my dish here. I'm going to show you these as well. But here is the, I'll set this down beside me. Here is the red pot. Some of you may have these already, but isn't that a beautiful, it's kind of got a little speckled look. I don't know if you can actually see that. Look, my light is coming through my window and kind of affecting the way that this appears, but it has these nice rubberized handles on it. And then this is what the lid looks like here. And this is just one of the pots that is in the set. And I really think that's so pretty and will look good in my kitchen, and I can't wait to use them, because I've not used them yet, but I'm going to. And then another thing that came in it was the cast iron pan. And I love cast iron. You know, it never, ever wears out. And you know, a lot of people say, well, mine has gotten rusty. Just get you some steel wool and scrub that off, wipe it down, and then, you know, seal it up with some oil in there. You know, heat your pan and get your oil on there and get it seasoned good. And the rust should not give you any problem then for a long time. But here is the beautiful cast iron frying pan that came with it. I wanted to show you the back side, which I think is beautiful. Is that not pretty? It says the Pioneer Woman on it, and it has all of this, the lovely flowers and everything that are on there. So that was another thing that came with the set. And then it came with some measuring spoons and whatnot. I want to show you those, because I think all of her things are so feminine to me. Now, one of my daughters said, now, Mama, this is not, the Pioneer Woman is not really my style, but it looks like you. I said, well, thanks a lot. You know, it cracked me up, because she said, it's not my style, but it looks like you. And I said, well, what are you saying? You know, and then we all burst out laughing. And she goes, Mom, I don't mean anything negative by it. I'm just saying it's pretty and it looks like you, even though, like, I might not have it in my particular kitchen, because I like more modern type things. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. But we were teasing her a little bit about it. I said, are you shading me? She said, no, Mama, I'm not. But these are little measuring spoons that came with the set. And you can see that it's marked on there what they are. And I love the different little colors. I mean, I just think it's very pretty and very feminine to go in the kitchen. And I'm showing you these just so you can get a picture in your mind about what they look like. And many of you, like I say, you may have them already. But those are the little measuring spoons. And then it came with some spatulas. And I want to show you those. And I'm leaning all around out of the camera because I'm trying to shift around and get these things wherever they are so you can see them. And I really think these are pretty too. This is one of the spatulas. So this is the teal color that's so popular with the Pioneer Woman. And then it has the Pioneer Woman actually, you know, in the wood right there. And that's the back side of the spatula. And now I got this one also, which matches the pots and pans. And, you know, this type of rubber spatula is really good to use in your pots and pans so that you don't scratch it up. Because if you get metal going in there, like a metal spatula, it'll kind of, you know, put scratches on your things. And let's see what else I can show you out of my set that I got. Let me see if I can reach over here. I don't want to knock things off, so let me show you these first. These are beautiful. Look at these beautiful, these are like glass or porcelain, whatever you want to call it. And aren't they beautiful, like stoneware, I guess you might say. And these are 3 different sets that, 3 different pots or dishes, I guess you could say, that came with this set. And it has this little steam vent on the top. So you could actually put that in your microwave with soup or gravy or something in there. And this is, I like using this better than using plastic because I think it's safer for you. And they've proven that sometimes heating up food in plastic in your microwave can have cancer-causing agents. And so I just want to stay away from that if I can. And this is all the, like the stoneware. And I really love it. It's not too heavy. And the bottom, even the bottom where it says, from my frontier to yours, the Pioneer Woman. And it's on the bottom of all these. And so there's 3 sizes of these. And I love the colors. Once again, I think they're very pretty and feminine. And they may not be your style. But you can still say that they're pretty. Because I think that they are. And you can see that these have that hint of red in them that will match, you know, all the things that I've got going on in my kitchen. And then, what else? Oh, yes. I got these pretty little measuring bowls, and I wanted to show them to you because I do think they're pretty too. And let me take them out of each other. And this is what they look like on the inside so that you can know when you're measuring, you know, what's what. There's the little design on that one. Let's see. There's the half-cup measure. I like the little scalloped edges. I think they're just really pretty. I haven't washed these out yet, but I'm going to, and I'm gonna display them also because I think they're so beautiful. So that's some of what came in the set that I bought for myself. That was sort of like my Christmas present, and I wanted to share it with you that's what I got the night when I was out. Now, my daughters and I left around 7, and by 12:30, I was exhausted. We had gone to Walmart, and we had finished up there. We had brought some items back to my house to put away because one of my daughters doesn't have a lot of storage in her house. And so the things she had gotten for Christmas, she didn't want them to be discovered. So she brought them to my house and we dropped everything off. And then we went over to the mall, and there were only a couple stores open in the mall overnight, which I was kind of surprised about. But we shopped at a couple of those, and then they wanted to go on further down to a shoe store. And I really, by that time, I was really tired. And because I had had the accident, you know, a few days before, my back was really starting to hurt. And I told my girls, I said, just let me sit in the car on these heated seats. This is just like being on a heating pad. And you guys go ahead and shop to your heart's content in the shoe store. And they shopped for probably about 25 minutes. And then they came out, and I was home by 1 o'clock. And so that was not too bad. And they were able to get some good things for their Christmas. And, you know, it's one of the things that is nice is if you're trying to save money, sometimes you have to do things that are a little bit inconvenient. And that might mean fighting a little bit of a crowd to get the best deal. And I know people are really harsh about sometimes when you're saying, I would never fight that crowd on Black Friday. I understand that. But if you're trying to save money, it's one of the best ways you can do it. And yes, it's sort of inconvenient. And yes, it can be a little bit of a hassle. But, you know, if you can save $30 or $50 on a set of pots and pans, then it's worth it to me to go ahead and kind of inconvenience myself a little bit. Same with other items. If you're shopping for bicycles or scooters or things, you know, that you would like to provide for your children for a fun Christmas, if you can get them at half price, then it's worth it, you know. So that's kind of the way we try to balance that out and talk to ourselves. Tell ourselves it's okay to go out on Black Friday and do a little bit of shopping for things that we want to do to bless our families over the holidays. So that is what I did over Thanksgiving. Friends, I would love to hear from you and hear what you did for Thanksgiving. It is great to catch up with you on this Monday chat, and I have loved every minute of it. And like always, I look forward to next time. See you then. Bye-bye.